Let's check out today's reliable connection, brought to you by Xfinity. And the reliable connection so far, right here in New York City, has been the Villanova trio: Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Donte DiVincenzo. And those three will be back on the court on Monday night to face the Indiana Pacers. The city is aglow with Rangers and Knicks excitement. Madison Square Garden was all lit up tonight when I arrived.
I thought the city was aglow because Bontemps was assigned the Boston-Cleveland series for a couple weeks.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. They should be
So
happy to have me around. They just won their series in 2 years in a row for the first time in 24 years of me covering it.
Brunson coming off as hot of a streak is in the playoffs as we've seen, at least in the first round, in a while. So we'll see if he can keep that going. It was such a high intensity series against the 76ers. Interesting to see if the Knicks can keep that energy, keep that emotion up in a very, very different type of team, trying to do very, very different type of things. Total mismatch of styles here. The Pacers want to run. The Knicks want to slow it down. It'll be very much a fight of wills here. The Knicks want to execute in the half court. Pacers aren't always great defensively in the half court, although Miles Turner has his moments. So Bontemps, the Knicks are not as heavily favored as I think I saw, what did I see on ESPN bet? It was like, I don't even remember what I saw the Celtics were. It was some ungodly amount of money. The Celtics, you'd have to bet on the Celtics to.
Well, the Celtics are favored to win game one by 11.5 points. So that's where we're at with that.
Knicks strong favorites against the Pacers. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I picked them to win in 5. They should win the series pretty comfortably. We talked about how the Cavs and Magic both didn't cover themselves in glory necessarily, and Cleveland had its issues in advancing. Indiana had plenty of issues in advancing, despite playing a Milwaukee team that had a hobbled or missing Damian Lillard, didn't have Giannis Antetokounmpo at all, and had Chris Middleton playing very heroically, but also through multiple injuries and really being banged up, and they still gave him a lot of trouble throughout that series. The Knicks, with their size, with their physicality, should be able to control the paint like they did against Philly. I think the one way I think this series can be really competitive is if Tyrese Halliburton looks like the guy he did before he got hurt in January. He did not really look like that guy in the series. He's also now dealing with these back spasms or lower back issues that hampered him a bit at times towards the end of the Milwaukee series. He looked better in game 6, but
yeah, he's listed on the injury report. It's questionable.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not the best player on the court, they're going to get smoked in the series.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like no doubt. And Jalen Brunson, as we talked about the other day, is going to be plenty motivated to beat Indiana. And I think, some of the stuff that Indiana was able to do against Milwaukee, the TJ McConnell stuff, some of those things I don't think are going to work nearly as well against this Knicks team that's much better defensively than Milwaukee. And I just don't anticipate Indiana being able to control the pace and control the score like they're going to need to win the series. I do think they'll probably have a game where they win, where they shoot really well from 3 and they score a ton of points and the Knicks can't keep up. But I also think especially game 1 for Indiana coming to the Garden and playing the Knicks in the first game, I suspect the Knicks will win that game pretty comfortably, and that'll be a pretty big adjustment for the Pacers, and then we'll see how game 2 goes. But yeah, I like the Knicks pretty comfortably to win this one.
Well, Jackson put the ESPN bet odds in there. Knicks minus 270 to win the series. The Celtics in their series minus 1,800. Means you got to bet $1,800 to win 100.
Yeah,
and we talked about this the other day. I 100% agree with you. Tyrese Halliburton has to be the best player in the series for the Pacers to have any chance. The first half of this season, he was playing at that kind of level to where you thought that was a possibility. Has not since the hamstring injury. We discussed, the old aggregators got a hold of this one. We discussed the Rick Carlisle, Brunson history and their last thing. Of course, Brunson was asked about it and acted like I'd never even like, what are you talking about?
Rick who?
Yeah, and Brunson, I told you then Brunson would want no part of that.
Of course.
But
actions over words, ladies and gentlemen.
Tyrese Halliburton's part of that storyline too, because the Mavericks
they were trying to trade Jalen Brunson to get the pick.
They absolutely tried to trade, and they tried to trade Brunson several times. But like Rick has talked about how the Mavericks tried their butts off to get Halliburton in that draft, and that's true. They had Brunson, the 18th pick, which ended up being Josh Green, not like Tyrese Maxey or Desmond Bane, but Josh Green, and then the 31st
still a solid
pick.
Player. Yeah,
and that's what they were dangling. The funny thing is, they dangled it to everybody before Halliburton went off the board, including the Knicks.
Yeah,
who were like, nope, we love this Obi Toppin kid.
They were so excited to take Obi Toppin.
And now,
by the way,
Toppin? Of course, he's in Indiana. So
by the way,
there's all kinds of
Obi Toppin had issues internally with the Knicks last year. They next gave him away. And so I don't think
he had the game of his career in Game 6 to help.
Look, and I'm not saying Obi Toppin's going to control the series, but as long as you're tracking beef,
or
his brother is on the Knicks.
Yeah, whether we call it beef or whether we just call it like interesting ties between these teams.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff to watch.
If he throws down a key dunk, he might glance sideways over at a certain individual.
Listen, you don't stare at the player, because that's a technical foul these days. It might get rescinded the next day like Ants did, but if you stare at a guy after having a hell of a play, no. Now you can.
Courtney Kirkland, not great. Not a great look.
You can pivot on your butt and double pistols at a guy. Jamal Murray did that after Ant got teed up several plays later. But yeah, I agree, and I'm glad Barkley blasted him. Dude, no taunting technical fouls allowed in the game's officiated differently is in terms of what's an actual foul, also technical fouls. Taunting, first of all, should be encouraged. It's entertaining. Right. It should be encouraged all season long.
Certainly not after game 2.
Playoffs.
No taunting technicals after game 2. Even if you're gonna do it in game 1, not after game 2. Get it out early.
No. The most overrated thing in sports is sportsmanship. Stop trying. This ain't the Boy Scout.
That is a MacMahon special right there.
Yes, ain't the damn
right
Boy
there,
Scouts.
right there with the height requirement.
Badges somewhere else.
Right there at the height requirement on the MacMahon list of things he says.
MacMahon just beats up on his twin boys, and he's like, I got a foot on them, and I'm going to dunk on their heads.
No. I'm not allowed to go in the paint unless I'm down 6. I just light their butts up from outside. Now, the 3-point line's the crack in the road. They thought that was to their advantage. Oh, nah, I live out there, baby. You can't right over your little 5-foot head, you little punk kids.
Are any of you surprised at home listening that MacMahon gloats about beating his boys?
Well,
no, you shouldn't be.
Game winners. And I make them run it and tell their mama how I hit it. Oh, yeah. Tell her about that lefty hook from 20 feet. Tell her about that step back, baby. Yes.
Go report on it. Go give the report. Oh, also, I'd like to ban the phrase marginal contact.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I made my thoughts clear on all this nonsense the other day. Get rid of
marginal contact. Joker does not have a new 6-inch wound on his arm. Has to be marginal.
He does always have those giant gashes on his arm. My God.